All right. Hello, everybody. It's a lovely Friday. Not the meeting that I'm finishing up on, but it is a good Friday, I guess. You fear right. All right. So, I I hope you're having a better week than the Uber folks have. We'll be talking a little bit about that as soon as I shut my door. One sec. There we go. All right. Door shut. Um, if you've been under a rock in the last 24 hours, you didn't find out about the Uber breach. Well, it's not really a breach. In this case, a breach would mean that something was left if you cracked open or, accessed a building via a breach. The idea would be that something was left of that company that could be recovered in a thoughtful manner. But um, hey, Beta Wolf. So, speaking of which, Beta Wolf, thank you so much for your follow. I've known Beta for a while now, and yeah, glad to see you joining me there, Beta, for that. It is the 16th of September, not the 16th of August, so I'll change that on the video title later on. But yeah, good times. Yeah, so there were some stories that had come out when this had happened about, and I'm going to pop over to our browser. Doink. There we go. The so one of the screenshots that had come out was the fact that you know the hacker says, hey, I'm a hacker, raw, Uber suffered a data breach, data was stolen. The general apathy of the people at the organization with their popcorn emojis and cool story bro icons and such. um if there is, I'm not invited. And people putting up icons and stuff. Apparently, according to The Verge, employees thought it was a joke. Haha, Max lulls. I'm Hackzor. Ha ha ha. Some people had, I believe, let me see, where was one of the other? Here it is. So, engineer at Uber, non security engineers watching the horizontal and vertical privilege escalation go down live on Slack. Attacker was going to different rooms, trying to talk to people and ask how their day was, watching the security response live, etc. People were trolling the attacker back since they couldn't do anything else. See, I'm getting conflicting reports here. The Verge is saying, oh, everybody thought it was a joke, but then you've got an Uber engineer here saying, people making jokes like, if you have the source, would you mind working on some P0 bugs? Enjoy on call shift, that kind of thing. Um, I'm I I had really strong thoughts about this morning when I saw this, because I hadn't read the story that people thought it was a joke. Um, maybe it's you know, I'm hoping that the engineers legitimately thought it was a joke. Culture is weird at Uber. Well, Beta, the ex CEO was a bit of a shitbag. So, it's to be expected, I think, that maybe upper management hasn't been completely flushed yet. Somebody else had mentioned that there was a not safe for work image somewhere on their HR site. Yeah, you're not really all that sorry, are you? Um, yeah. Mm-hmm. Uh, one at some point in the future, we're going to need to have a discussion about proper time management in meetings. Yeah. Hmm. So anyway, the hacker appears to have made themselves known to Uber's employees, posting messages. Some of the messages were so brazen, many employees thought that this was a joke. Of course, they said that. Oh yeah, there's so all of the links and icons and screenshots that I've added here that I've collected today are pretty much in the system itself. Um, Apparently Uber has a network share with some PowerShell scripts on it, or did have a network share with some PowerShell scripts in it that included passwords for an admin user for their Thycotic, which is their uh, credential system to be able to pull credentials down and to be able to access things. Um, and yeah, it was yeah. Um, sorry, somebody's apologizing for not getting to the second thing in a hour-long meeting, and because their stuff took an hour, and I'm a little salty about that right now. So, yeah. So the admin user account was able to extract secrets for services, including Duo, OneLogin, AWS, G Suite, which is kind of odd because I mean, there's a lot of different clouds they're playing in here. I mean, you've got AWS, G Suite. Um, yeah, I'm actually surprised that they are cross cloud like that, or maybe it's just a bunch of cruft that's left over from previous incarnations of whatever Uber is at the time. Uh, the the hacker claims to be 18 years old, and that when it first broke last night, the initial thought was that they had asked for credentials from an IT admin and were given them. Um, they also was suggested. It was also suggested they had 1.19 petabytes of data leaked from the site. Now, I don't know how many 18-year-olds that have access to that amount of storage space. I mean, that is a non-trivial amount of storage space. So I don't know how much of the 1.19 petabytes, approximately 1.19 petabytes of data, have been pulled, but that's at least how much that Uber has. So there's definitely some issues here. They said they got access to. There was some other. There's been a ton of a ton of threads on this today. They got the SE didn't employee accessed VPN and scanned intranet for all kinds of things. Um, so yeah, they're having all kinds of fun poking around inside this. So it's not a good day for the incident response folks. I'm hoping that the employees who thought it was a joke had at some point realized that there was a problem. And if the IR folks didn't know about it already, then I don't know how long that person was inside their Slack. But yeah, it's going to be a rough weekend for the blue team and the IR folks over at Uber. So my thoughts go to you and your families because you're going to miss them this weekend, I would imagine, while this is going on. So having never worked an IR at this scale, if you find somebody that you're hiring, or you have a job position available and you find out they just worked at Uber, maybe give them benefit of the doubt. Especially if they've had to deal with this, or any of the other previous breaches that they'd had to deal with at Uber. Nothing like hiring battle hardened people, even if they don't look like they're if they don't fit all of your qualifications. They've seen some shit. So sometimes having people like that in your back pocket to be able to draw upon them on a rainy day is always a good thing. So yeah, think about that when you're interviewing people, maybe looking at their past history. And you can always do some research, I think, on resumes and stuff when you're looking at things like this, and you're like, oh, you were working at LastPass in August of 2022. What was the incident response like there? That kind of thing. I mean, obviously within reason, you don't want them divulging any NDA stuff, but I mean, did you work that IR? What was it? What were your roles during that time? Were you an incident commander? What was your primary job? Was it trying to stop lateral movement? What were some of the things that you did during that time? These are some questions that you could intelligently ask people that would go outside of your. Sorry. Um, one sec. One of my colleagues is about to flip a table, so Uh, I'm not gonna write out loud. Boink. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, I think if we hire smarter in that case, and I'm trying not to get back on the hiring stuff, but think about those things. You know, maybe do some research on the they worked at X place and there was a major vulnerability or something that had happened during that time. What did you do to fix Heartbleed, or what did you do to fix Dirty Cow, or something like that, where you were involved in blue team at LastPass, or Solar Winds when everything went to shit. I mean, what was your role like? Did what did you learn from that experience there? Those are the kinds of things that I'm going to start thinking about when I interview with folks, and not just at my job, but in the future. Be like, maybe putting, you know, maybe if you were involved in those incidents as a person hiring, like, hey, I lived through Heartbleed. I lived through Dirty Cow. Our company. Hey, Digital Warhead, what's up? What is that thing on the screen? Is that a raccoon with its ass in here? What is going on there? I don't. Okay, look, I have old ass eyes, Digital. You're killing me here with this. I'm gonna have to go look at that. What is that? Oh, that is a hot dog with eyes. I I I uh, I have no idea where to go with that. I'm just gonna yes, exactly. Call alt delete. Yeah, that is definitely something, and nightmare fuel for me later on. I'm gonna wake up in the night going, it was a dancing hot dog. It was a dancing hot dog. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, there's a hot mess of things here that I don't think we've heard the last of this. I think there's going to be more about Uber going on with this in the future. As a matter of fact, I would say if the person is 18 years of age and they're truly 18 years of age, yes, YT, yes, YTT, that was a thing that happened. Welcome, YTT. Glad you could join me today. And Beta Wolf and Cole Alt Delete. Thank you for being a first time chatter here. But yeah, I'd love to get other people's thoughts on this. I know we do have some folks that are leadership. I do know folks here that are on the call that have worked incident responses, and people who are senior leadership who've worked incident responses. So, um, no problem, YTT. Yeah, I got all fancy and started putting a timer on that and setting it up because I've read more and more things saying, hey, just don't start it at the top of the bottom of the hour. Give it a bit of a timeline. Where it's like, hey, in 10 minutes we're going to be on. So I thought, what's better than a timer that times down to whenever it is. So, yeah. So yeah, I think part of our hiring smarter is helping to get people. What in the hell is this? Oh, somehow I have tied tabs together and stuff. So yeah. So this is what came out last night. As you can tell, it's very thought leadery. They actually took the time to post this out. They said the attack started with a social engineering attack, resulted in compromise of an employee's credentials. Credentials allowed the attacker to access and scan the internal network through VPN and scan the intranet. Internal network contained PowerShell scripts on a network share containing credentials for an admin user in Thycotic. They extracted the secrets for all the services, domain admin, or not Active Directory, Duo, etc. Um, yeah, and New York Times is talking about that last night. So they say that Uber is worth $62 billion, and they still suffered a cyber attack. I don't see those two facts being simpatico to one another. Um, the fact that Uber has a net worth of $62 billion and still suffering a cyber attack, that's doesn't mean jack shit, really. They could have been $100 billion, they could have been $1 trillion company. I'm talking about the fruit company. and still suffered a cyber attack. I think it doesn't matter how much your net worth is. Um, you know, the bigger you are, the harder. Well, yes, in that case, you're absolutely correct. Correct, YTT. Um, just trying to tell me you're trying to tell me it doesn't matter how many boxes you buy. It and no matter the blinky box, no matter how large or small, you're prone to cyber attack in this day and age, and never underestimate the cyber attacks on your organization and brand reputation. The brand reputation is the thing that they completely miss here. Um, there is no such thing as brand reputation anymore. As soon as a news cycle goes through, nothing bad is going to happen to Uber. I said as much this morning that if brand reputation was truly a thing, we'd be speaking about Target and Home Depot in the past tense. Hey, remember when Target used to exist? Remember when Home Depot used to be a thing? Right there. Uber will be around forever. As a matter of fact, what is their stock price right now? If you haven't bought Uber stock, you probably should. Uber share price. All right, so Uber took a bit of a hit. Let's see, 5 days. Okay, so let's see, $33 a share. They traded as high as $34 on Thursday, the 15th. Let's go back a month. We'll see if we're there. Okay. So from 15th, they went down from $33 to $31. So they've lost 10% of their value. I would say Monday, you're probably safe enough to go and buy more stock. Yeah, yes, Marvinger. Home Depot was one of the well-known Home Depot breach. In the before times. So yeah, Home Depot data breach. So in 2014, at the time, it was one of the biggest breaches to date. It was the largest retail breach involving a point of sale system ever reported, Marvinger. 50 million credit cards from Home Depot and customers and 53 million email addresses. I'll let you read through all of this. This was one of those ones where it was like, oh my God, because in 2014 we were, how do I say this? We were ingenues in the security industry. We were like, oh my God, I can't believe it. We'll never see another one like this. Yeah. Now it's like every damn week, seems like. And it took years, I think, to actually, kill. Yeah, last year. So it took from 2014 to 2021, 7 years for the class action to occur. Home Depot paid $19 million in damages. They've also paid out a minimum of $134 million for credit card companies and banks. So they've spent roughly $155 million, something like that. Latest settlement amount to claims for $2 per compromised credit card. So each credit card number is worth $2. $2. So $179 million total is what this Arc Titan folks are saying. Again, Oh, you'd like to think that, wouldn't you, Redacted? You would like to think that. Yeah. You know what? I'm going to say yes, they probably added a new blinky box or two. Home Depot is 7 years into their, breach. I would say a good majority of their IT or security people, might remember that. Some of them were probably not working there when it happened, but yeah. Reputation damage, I don't see it. Don't see it. Yeah, exactly. So let me go look at Home Depot's monies. Home Depot stock price. I mean, it's probably fluctuated a little bit in the last, let's go max. All right. So max. So let me see, 2016, it was at $93 a share. It's now at $275.97 a share. Um, it's obviously they are taking a brand reputation hit. Yes, exactly. You buy your fucking Uber. Yeah, exactly. Because YTT is absolutely correct. Um, I would say, you know what? You know what? I would love to do this. Let's go. Uber is 31.93 right now. The market has closed for the week here in the US. I would say within a week they'll be trading 10 to 20% higher. Oh, there you go. YTT setting the price. YTT says $38 this time next month. So on October the 16th, we will check and see what the price is, but I can almost guarantee you this will be trading higher. Same thing happened when FireEye got hit by SolarWinds. FireEye got hit by SolarWinds, I think 3 years ago. First thing I did when I heard about the breach was I went and bought FireEye stock. And the reason I did that was because I knew exactly what YTT said. They're gonna apologize. Your data is very important to us. We're taking efforts to make things more secure, so this won't happen again. Yada yada yada. Stock went up. It's just a thing. There is no reputational damage anymore. Not even with third parties. I would say, it made if any kind of reputational damage would happen, it would have to be such that you'd have to get another company to care enough to sever that partnership. Now, YTT and I were just talking about this. So I bought one of these cards refurbished. This is not a data breach. NVIDIA did not get breached. I believe they've been breached in the past. But they, this company, which I have one of their cards, the 1080 Ti, they're a third-party creator of the cards. So they basically take NVIDIA's chipsets, repackage them, kind of like a TP-Link or a third party like that may use a Raylink chip inside their systems. In this case, they're using the 1080. I'm using a 1080 Ti from the EVGA folks. But I mean, it takes a lot for a third party to feel like their relationship with that party is so bad that that party needs to go away, especially with NVIDIA, because some of these orgs, it's like, I'm NVIDIA, fuck you, that kind of thing. EVGA is like, oh well, we're using your stuff. FireEye was the one that found out SolarWinds was breached in the end. Yes. Hey, Angel 31D. Originally, the way I had understood it, they did not realize that it was SolarWinds was the problem. I believe they announced that they themselves had a breach, and then they had narrowed it down to it's a third party, it's SolarWinds in this case. But it took a couple days, I believe, to do so. So, but I could be wrong there. But Redacted says, I think it's good. NVIDIA are idiots. They're good chips. Yeah, I would have bought an AMD graphics card, except OBS does not use the graphics card to do encoding and decoding of video streams. So AMD does not have that kind of input into OBS. If they did, I would definitely do that. Who's the idiots? NVIDIA. Yeah. Market share really does allow you some latitude. In this case, if there's a lot of orgs out there that people have to work with them because they're the they're the biggest player in the industry, and the problem is NVIDIA knows it, right? NVIDIA, nobody says, well, I've got a cool AMD chip and I'm going to be playing Apex Legends. No, it's NVIDIA. If you're a Twitch streamer, you get an NVIDIA card because that is what you use. Exactly. They're the best around and they know it. A lot of orgs do that. Hey, I'm Microsoft. You're going to fucking work with me or you're not. And then you're not going to be, with a leading company. You're always going to be second best. you're going to be the second dog in the dog team. Um, so you're running into that. Um, reputational damage. Reputational damage is dead. I mean, I work in an organization right now where it's like, I can't believe we're working with this third party. Well, they're the market share hold, they hold the largest market share, so we're gonna have to capitulate. No, we don't have to. Yes, we do. Business people say. So, there's some of those things where it's like you're gonna work with the leaders in the field, but they're gonna suck. And you're not gonna want to work with the unpopular kids because you're not gonna move things with them. Um, like it or no. So yeah, sorry to burst your bubble, but yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, and that could be Friday sell off, YTT. I mean, you're. I think I've been watching some of the market. Friday is usually the days where you get some people who like to do sell offs and stuff. I froze for a bit. Oh, I apologize for that. Let me go over here and turn off my enable preview. Friday buy. Well, yeah, I bought Thursday afternoon, which probably hit me. I took my Mandiant stock and put it back into Twitter because I figure if they end up forcing the sell to Elon, I'm going to get $54 a share, even though it's trading at 41 right now. So I'll make money either way, or it'll go back down to $15 and do whatever it is. So chip stocks like Nvidia plunge on new lows. No time for bargain hunts. Yeah, you know it's interesting, but you know, for the longest time, at least in security, I was told that reputation was something that we could always use to convince the business people that they should be secure. And the problem is we don't even have that anymore, right? It's not, your customers are going to care if you get breached. Well, no, they don't, apparently. If they did, we'd all be speaking about half of these companies in the past tense. Um, Plain fact of the matter is, retailers are never going to go away. Um, People that sell things to folks, it's not going to go away. So, to be honest, I don't know how we when we explain business impact, what do we they care for the 24-hour news cycle, and then you have something else to get. Yeah, it's like, oh my God, Uber got breached. Oh, what's on the Kardashians? What's going on with the Kardashians? Um, I don't know if they're cool and hip or not, but yeah. My thought was, we talk about business impact, and what are legitimate business impacts right now? We can't say reputation. We can't say loss of profit. We can't say, eh, my I'm just trying to figure out, what are legitimate business impacts these days? Availability? Maybe, if we push this patch and nobody could watch NFL football on Amazon Prime last night, employee turnover in IT. No, we'll just hire more people, YTT. There's a ton of security people out there. Because in the same breath you hear about a talent shortage in InfoSec, we've got people who are like, oh my God, um, employee turnover in IT. I mean, you could argue that, but is that a business impact? Patreon supposedly got rid of a good bunch of their security people. Is security going away? Not immediately. Hiring people is expensive. That's true. That's true. Hiring people is expensive, and that's one place you can take a hit. Um, yeah, I mean, you could probably argue. Hmm. Employee turnover in IT. So you would say what? It will take you. I think you would have to show that there's a morale issue to begin with, right? I mean, uh, let's say Uber was a good place to work. I don't know if it is, but I would say, let's say Uber is a good place to work. Institutional knowledge is huge value. Okay, that's fair. Um, if I was management and somebody said, "Oh, if we do this and it causes issues, we're going to have all of our IT people are going to quit." I would have to ask if things are so bad that it takes, if it's one thing that's going to cause people to quit. I mean, if things are bad enough that, we have to worry or have that as part of our threat, For business impact, I would have to wonder about other things in our company, not just the security ramifications of pushing those items. I didn't have much to deal. I didn't have much trust to begin with. Lol. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's yeah. I guess institutional knowledge is a huge value. I just think that if employee turnover in IT is a legitimate threat or risk to your organization, I would be embarrassed as the CEO to be wondering about that. Where the morale is so bad that if we have an event like something that causes people to just rage quit all of a sudden, or leaving leaving organizations like that, I would be embarrassed as a CEO about that. So. I don't know what that is. Why is that? Oh, okay. Yeah, that's that and that. Okay, good. Um, so, but you're going to work them to death for the next month, and then the company stops caring, and that murders any goodwill you had. Oh, yeah, yeah. To be fair, I can't. I don't know what the culture or work culture is over at Uber, but yeah, I would imagine you will have some folks at Uber who are quitting. And depending on, you could have an IT person who's like, I'm the person who gave the password to that hacker. And, depending on the culture of that area, that IT person could be, on the breadline right now today. So, um, yeah, I have no idea. But yeah. Um, yeah. So anybody here other than YTT, because I know ITT has seen it all. Anyone else here had to deal with an incident response of any kind? And what were the lessons learned like for you? Any what was it like running that IR? Were there a lot of people running around pointing fingers at one another trying to save face, or were they actually, you know, rolled up? I'm not in IT. Oh, you're so lucky, redacted. It would I was talking to my boss today during my one-on-one with him, and I was like, what is it like to not be in security? And what is it like not, the first thought of, hey, we're going to build this product is not, well, how are bad guys going to use it? You know, what is it like when your first thought is, hey, this is going to be an amazing thing for, our customers to use. And when, the security people are like, oh yeah, don't do that. Don't ever do that. Burn this. Don't ever make that happen. No, YGT, obviously not. Yeah. Um, Even if it was in jest with the developers and the Uber folks that actually thought it was jokey jokes. Um, See, my security self, if I'd have saw something like that, I would have emailed IT, or I would have emailed, the IR team or the security team and gone, hey, is this legit? Are y'all just making jokes, ha-has, and what have you? Um, that's my first thought. The dev's first thought was, oh, let's make jokes and troll the attacker. Watch fiddle while the whole place is burning down. But um, yeah, I hate sometimes. You know, one of the things that came up last couple days with Better Safety Net. Let me see. Yeah, there we go. He said, "We're not moving the needle." He said, security, we're not moving the needle. He started out with this is, he added right after in 2014, right after Home Depot got breached, 2015 Harvard Business Review did a story on, breaches, breaches aren't, breaches don't hurt orgs, right? And that's what made me think about Home Depot and Target and what have you. They said they're 65 million credit cards, $62, breach related costs, 62 million at the time. In the third quarter of 2014, they showed a 21% increase in earnings per share. That was not even 2 quarters after their breach. They showed a 1/5, increase in the number of earnings per share. Um, so yeah, here's the Sony hack, which for some of you who didn't know that Home Depot was hacked, Sony was hacked, 10 years ago. Obviously Sony is, it went belly up and has went bankrupt, and unfortunately we never heard of Sony again after this. Um, no way we'd email everybody knows better. They'd hit my signal. Yeah, that's true. But yeah, as we know, Sony went belly up and is never recovered. And the interview, yeah, I believe that was because of the interview. Ironically enough, I just borrowed that from the internet legitimately in the past few days. I thought I might actually see what it was about, if it was actually any good. Not a huge James Franco fan, but it's a thing. But yeah, I mean, again, yet another example. Sears. Now, Sears, I don't think it was a breach that killed it. I think it was probably online retailers. But there's a number of orgs out there that This is another one here. Harvard Business Review. There we go. Doink. It's a little old, but it'll give you some in the before times history lessons about companies that were breached. While company stock prices were largely not affected, security breaches had other consequences. They pledged to spend $100 million upgrading a security. Company lost about $236 million in breach-related costs, $90 million of which were offset by insurance. Judge ruled Target will have to defend itself against accusations of negligence by banks, credit unions. So obviously, we know 7 years later, Home Depot and Target are now, finishing up their class actions. But yeah, I mean, it just sucks because I know that Uber is, their executives are like, yay, we're gonna see a banner year for profits, because people are now going to be either shorting the stock, knowing that it's going to go up, or they're actually going to be purchasing the shares, knowing that it's going to. Sears did fail to adapt, yeah. But when I think of Sears, I think of appliances, YTT, and last time I think the biggest thing I ever had UPS delivered to my house was probably the 80-pound set of weights per dumbbell that I had when the pandemic started. I don't think they'd be delivering things like stoves or refrigerators to me, but yeah, I mean, it is what it is. And they were on this back in 2015. So. School clothes and Christmas. Oh yeah. Oh, and YTT school pictures, almost like glamour shots. We never went to the fancy Sears place. We ended up going to Walmart and getting our fancy pictures when we were kids. But I think we're going to see more about. I think we're going to hear more as the postmortem occurs. Mick, we've had Mick on the show more than once. He does, he's normally not Mr. He's Mr. Pragmatism. So cybersecurity isn't important. It's not bleak, but it does. This is a good Twitter thread about challenging assumptions as to your first problem here, talking about stock prices increased. Why are we here? Why are we working so hard? Let's do nothing, then pay extra insurance. I mean, we've seen physical results of people not doing necessary bits for security purposes. The levees, in 2006 with Katrina, the hurricane that hit New Orleans, they found out later on that millions of dollars of money was not invested into the levee system, and it wasn't going to, if it hit just right, it was going to flood anyway. So, hey Kimisek, hey Kimisek, did you get your Hack 5 thing? Just let me know. I know Digital Warhead did, but Kimisek, Triplexity, if Triplexity's on, please let me know if you got your Hack 5 items. Still have the way bills here. So Kimisek, you should have gotten a land shark. Okay, good. All right, awesome. Triplexity's packet scroll will be around shortly. Thank you, Kimisek and Digital Warhead and Triplexity, for supporting us at a tier 3 level. We being me might give out more of those in the future for folks that are helping out at higher levels of support. But yeah, so yeah, so Twitter, I mean, at the time was at $41 a share. It's just rough. But yeah, we need to shift to a culture of revenue or brand protection. Hell, even just availability. These things are what the orgs care about. Think of it as social engineering for good. Find out what your org actually cares about and align to that. I would say, um, yeah, if it's revenue, you know, you're not going to be able to say, well, our stockholders, our shareholders are going to, freak out or something like that, I'd imagine. But even in temporary, you could say brand protection. I mean, the fact that Twitter's got a hot mess going on with it, there's been rumblings that Uber is going to end up testifying in front of Congress too. One of the other things you might say is, security is trying to keep you from having to testify in front of Congress or dealing with, especially if you work at a larger company, the ramifications of whatever happens there in that respect. If you work for a Fortune 10 or a Fortune 100 company, that could be a legitimate and real threat that your security folks, all we care about is uptime and the time it takes to credit card to process. YTT, you're not even the least bit afraid of Visa or MasterCard or, the credit card processors? Evil they are. Yes. Yes. Dark side they are. Charge us more per credit card. Yes. Yeah. Give me as many nines as possible. Yeah. I have an interesting thought about that too. Um, if you don't patch, so Twitter's had what, nine, 5 nines, 7 nines of availability, but then you hear from Mudge that they've got boxes that haven't been patched in 10 years. Great, you've got 7 nines of availability. You haven't been patching shit. Or your environment is not set up to allow for patching and availability. So you get one or the other. You either patch and have 97% uptime, or you don't patch and have 7 nines. Which one makes more sense for folks? And ideally, I heard that doesn't even matter because it was 198 degrees or something in Sacramento, and their data center went down. One of their 3-4 data centers went down. Beta Wolf. So Beta Wolf is currently in the market for a position. Beta Wolf has been looking for a position. So we've been chatting on Discord and Slack about various things. If you're looking for somebody who knows a lot about a lot of things and is working themselves for improvement, and is Beta Wolf's your person. So yeah. First shot. What can we do right now that would make things easier and better for everyone? Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, no worries, Beta Wolf. Everybody. I would say if you want to go work at Uber, wait a few months, and they might be looking for a director of security that needs everything under the sun to make that happen. So, I'd offer to take over the CISO role for Uber, but they'd fire me in 30 CYTT, you'd have to, yeah. I don't think anybody, I can't imagine what's going to happen here. I think go as a package deal. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so as if this wasn't bad enough, last month, I guess I must have missed this, or I think I was gone for most of August, but they had a breach. They had a LastPass, the password creators. Oh yeah, YTT and Beta Wolf, a 2-for-1 package deal. Yeah, that's a hell of a deal. One, one, $1.5 million yearly salary. Yeah, that. Wow, damn. I don't think it's going to be an even split there, Beta Wolf, because YTT, she knows her stuff. She knows her stuff. So apparently, according to the after action report, they said, although the threat actor was able to access the dev environment, our system design and controls prevented the threat actor from accessing any customer data or encrypted password vaults. Great. Because if they had gotten to the encrypted password vaults, my question would have been, how did they do that unless they had a back door into the systems? Um, but they also said that they were in there for not 2 weeks. They said about 4 days. This person was had internal access for 4 days, which is kind of interesting. I would love to find out what they did to evade detection, or if it was just a long holiday and somebody didn't realize it. They stole source code and proprietary technical information. My thing is, how much source code did they steal in this case? Because, now they're going to be doing code review. They're going to be looking for vulnerabilities in LastPass that they could potentially use as a bug bounty program, if LastPass has that, or to sell on the dark market for additional compensation. So we may still see more things shake out because of the proprietary technical information or source code. There's probably more than a few devs sweating what was found here. It will change the way we do things starting Monday. Yeah, Uber's vault got exposed. A lot of things got exposed there. So there's going to be a lot of password changes, a lot of process change potentially. Oh, good. We're going to the zoo tomorrow. Nice. Okay. Excellent. Sounds good. Looking forward to, I will be making an appearance at the Woodland Park Zoo in Seattle tomorrow around 10 a.m. So if you're looking for that, they had their glass break in their vault. Yeah. That was the one thing I was like, you had one password that gave you access to all of these things, or the IT person gave them access to the what I'd understood was they got VPN credentials because somebody called up IT. Hey, I'm remote. I don't have my password, whatever. I'm Bob Smith. Got the VPN credentials, but then they had access to the network share PowerShell scripts having passwords in them, which that's not good. Oh, cool. All right. Good job, Beta Wolf. I saw your Slack message. And yeah, so I mean, it was a progression thing, but yeah, we have a glass break and it's in our vault too. If you'd fished an admin, you would own that. Yeah, yeah, it's rough. So yeah, sounds great. Going to be a great weekend for it. Going to be a great weekend. Yep. Yeah, I mean, what I wonder is, did the 18-year-old, assuming it's an 18-year-old, get so bored? My personal glass break requires 2 attorneys and a safe deposit box. No excuse for me to do it the wrong way. Yeah. Beta Wolf, what you just said there is what we call resume generating event. But well, you're already generating a resume, so I guess it's a thing. I just wonder how long it took for maybe the 18-year-old who hacked Uber, if it's an 18-year-old truly, got bored, and that's why he started. They started acting out inside the Slack channels. How long would they have been in the environment had they not started mentioning things in the Slack channels? Just, it definitely feels like there was a level of, I wouldn't say immaturity, but, maybe they were just, hey, I've got the keys to your kingdom and nobody's caring. I want to make people care, or something like that. But, I just wonder if that person's going to get picked up or not, and where they're located. Betting pool starts for what country they live in. I can't imagine it's the United States because nobody would be stupid enough to do something like that to a U.S. company in the U.S. because they'd be looking at big times, big times. My fear of why I haven't done some crazy groundbreaking stuff like hacking Uber solely based off of spending time in prison. I hate baloney. I hate baloney. Well, I'm glad that your fear of meat-based products is what is keeping you out of prison. Um, okay. Yeah, yeah. Um, if they had pickle loaf, would you be all in? Or, maybe they call it capricola or something like that. Maybe if they, spiced it up with a different kind of Italian meat or included some kind of fancy cheese, you would be um ham and cheese. Oh, I don't know. I don't know about that beta wolf, but so, no, nope, nope. YTT, my mind went somewhere else. I'm going somewhere else on here. Hazy cracker. Hey, shitty frozen. Oh, YTT, you're killing me. Shitty frozen meals. It's like what, Hot Pockets or something. You know, Hot Pockets. They're frozen on the outside, but the inside is like the surface of the sun. I used to burn my mouth several times on the pepperoni versions of that. Oh, good. My friend has decided to flip a chair somewhere else or flip a table somewhere else. So that's good. Of course he is. Nah, they got everything and it's bland as shit. Okay. Yeah, cheesy lava. Exactly. YTT. I have definitely learned my lesson and had several blisters on the roof of my mouth from those kinds of things. So you know what? Let's so white Beta Wolf is working. Yes, we're gonna be doing some hack the box. I can definitely work on some hack the box clay hacks. What clay hacks? You have anything in particular? Because I have no I have no real direction on where we can go and hack the box. If you've got something specific you're wanting to work on or something kind of question you've got, you can definitely ask the assemblage here. Um, don't forget, Socvel is out with their brand new threat actors quiz. Maybe we'll go over that on Tuesday. They have their weekly sock quiz on. Oh, they're overdue. Okay, so it should have been week 26, but they're a little overdue. So they'll be coming in. All right. No preference at all. Okay. Hack the box. Hack the box. Hack the box. Hack the box. I'm gonna zap back over here. Just okay, good. I was afraid my screen would pop up with something else. Time to do a Hackers 95 montage. Yeah. The comments made by YTT are not necessarily the comments that everybody believes. Kick them whilst they're down. I don't know if they can go any further down. YTT, and I'm not exactly sure why my hack the box link won't work. Crap. Okay. Well, I'm at least showing myself on the screen and not everyone else. Past. You are a rat bastard. Okay, great. Okay, I'm gonna log into my one password that I use. Yeah, I couldn't authenticate. I thought my password was. Oh, you know what? I've changed my password because I was like, oh, maybe that's too easy. Problem is, my master password for my one password is like 35 characters. So every time I type it in, it's a bit of an ordeal. So, hack the box. There it is. Also, I'll be reaching out to Tanisha, CyberSec Diva. about when we're going to do the next sessions of. And, oh, yeah. Oh, that's right. I have 2FA as well. Oh, no, that's not it. There it is. There we go. All right, good. Considering that 1Password got a massive amount of funding recently. You know what, Beta Wolf, I don't think anybody's bad for using any particular one. LastPass is just as good as Dashlane or 1Password. You know, yeah, YTT, if I trusted not to lose my YubiKey, I would be all in on the YubiKeys. I mean, I have one for work. It's one of those things where if I lost it, I wouldn't be able to log into my laptop because I literally just put 37 characters in some random order and, you know, use that. If my password, I don't know what my password is and I change it, I think I've only changed it once, I think, while I've worked at that joint. But when I did that, I then used my YubiKey because it's almost like a fingerprint, right? So everybody's like, don't use biometrics to log in with your computer because they've got your fingerprint. Well, I mean, it's no different than me going tap. It's just assigning a value to the action, right? I would actually love that where it's like the fingerprint key is not your fingerprint; it's actually some amalgam or hash of like several parts of your system, and then you just tap on it, or long tap or short tap. You still have that YubiKey that I was given to you at your first BreakSec meet. Oh, was I giving those away, Beta Wolf? Yeah, see, I don't have a password either. It's more of a sentence, like call me Ahab or something like that, or call me, what was it, Ishmael? That's what it is, Ishmael. It's Moby Dick. Yeah. Yes, update. Okay. And we're going back to browser share. Double check. Yes, excellent. Okay. So, I don't think so. This is. Oh, yes, I know that person. I want to say that's I think that was Jen, who has the YubiKey earrings. So, for those of you in Seattle, we are planning on doing CSEC East this month. If you're interested in coming and hanging out, we're going to be doing an in-person thing. Because I'll have a bit of an announcement. I actually mentioned it last week as well. If somebody doesn't want to take over CSEC and CSEC East, it will go away when I leave. So, the meetups are still active and available. But when I leave, CSEC East will die because we're also getting rid of the nonprofit. And because nobody who works with the nonprofit will be in the state of Washington, and I will have to re-enable it in California anyway. It would just make more sense to wait and then re-enable it when I get to California. So, welcome to the new hackthebox platform. Okay. Let's see. Retired machines, to-do lists. I don't know. Can we find an easy box to futz with? See institutional knowledge. In what way, YTT? Are you talking about the meetup? Because I'm more than willing to give people the meetup, or meetups, CSEC, CSEC East, but somebody's going to have to want to do them. Oh well, I mean, I will do some. I'll do some, pass down with folks, and how I do, CSEC and CSEC East, but ideally, taking it over. And as large as the meetups are for signups, meetup does require a cost involved. So, okay, that's not good. Red Pander. There we go. Is that the person or is that the name of the box? Because join the live machine. Oh, it's offline right now. Okay. Damn. Is the academy open? Let's see. It's one monthly event. Got to find a place to hold it. We have a few fun ones now. I have some new places in mind if they'd have the meat. Who's they, Beta Wolf? The owners of said places. Yeah, okay. I'm assuming you mean you have like conference rooms and places where you could hold a meetup. You just need to connect the people together. There we go. Intro to Academy. Hacking WordPress. That's always fun. It's always easy and exciting and easy. Sign up for the course. Conference rooms, cool restaurants, and yes. Well, Beta Wolf, if you live in the Seattle area and you want to take over CSEC, I have no problem with that. You and I can talk. It's seriously, I don't fucking, goddamn people. Why does it got to be so goddamn difficult? I already logged into this shit. All right, one sec. Can't imagine they have a separate login for the Academy. And yes, log the fuck in. Great way to make contacts at land jobs too. Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely, YTT. Yeah, it's a great way to network, especially in the Seattle area. You just kind of have to put up with the Seattle freeze, which is a definite thing. Let's see, Hack the Box Academy. Yeah, there we go. Copy. Okay. Okay. I'm trying to log in with the password that I have in my password locker, and this is not working. This is starting to piss me off. Anybody have any meetups in their area that they'd like to tout? I know if you live in the Chicago area, there is all sorts of burbsec places. Some of them I think are more active than others. Clay Hacks, are you in where are you located at? General area of the country? God damn, what is up with you? Fucking. Yeah, forgot my goddamn password. See, my password is so secure, I don't even know what it is. Okay, good. All right. Gmail.com. The one thing I will tell you about streaming is it's made me a lot less worried about like shit not working. So it was a lot easier for me to like stand up and present in front of people because I'm standing up and presenting in front of you folks, and everything's going completely pear shaped, and I'm oddly okay with that. Good. There you go. Skip. Yeah, I've already been here before. Thank you. All right. Oh, North Carolina. Yeah, cool. You're how close are you to like B-sides, Augusta, Nova? I think it's probably Northern Virginia. I don't know how north in North Carolina are you? So even rotten fruit is too expensive to throw right now. I don't know. Really. Okay, so I've done that. Let me make sure all right, browser share. We're back. Okay. Successfully reset my password. So we're good to go. Modules, all modules. There is hacking WordPress. Give me the fucking thing. Well, if I didn't, I'll just reset my password again, right? That's probably the safest way of doing it, where I don't even know what the password was. I will just keep resetting my password every time. Give it a different. Ooh, 1090. Wow. Do I have enough? Maybe. Okay, I only have 946. God damn. Okay. I haven't done enough. Great. Windows fundamentals. Never gets hacked ever a day. Yeah. Manual revolving passwords. That's right. I have done that. Just put in some random stuff, then copied and pasted it into the second line, knowing that I will probably never log into this site ever again. And if I do, then they'll be like, "Oh, you've forgotten your password." Yeah, you'll just have to reset it or what have you. So I don't want to go to Linux fundamentals. That's just gimme stuff, which is going to bore the shit out of my really, really excellent, sophisticated hacker types that are on here. So, uh, learning process. What I was hoping they had was something like secure coding 101 JavaScript. Okay, that's something we can do. Oh, speaking of which, NXVL, one of our good friends, had sent over to me some instructions and some information on doing Python secure coding with Python. So copy link, go and touch some of that. Redacted. Not sure if serious or what have you. Beta Wolf. What I hate is sites that make it nearly impossible to reset your password. If you haven't had to reset a RuneScape password after your account was stolen, you don't know pain. Hey, oh, okay, good. All right. Okay, I don't know what RuneScape is, but oh, okay, it's an MMO. All right. No, wait, that's old, right? Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, I was like, I remember that one when I was playing Asheron's Call back in the day. Uh I thought that was gone the way of the dodo, but okay. I know RuneScape because I used to play Asheron's Call, which was another MMO. Ironically enough, Asheron's Call was around for a long, long time. I actually was able to play this game on a dial-up connection in the middle of the Indian Ocean with about a 500 millisecond ping rate. It was playable. I could play it. It was quite good. I spent more than a lot of time on it, and this was like after hours. It was like 5 cents a minute or something, and on the island of Diego Garcia. They actually have. I want to say they actually have a third-party application that will run Asheron's Call as a server system. Like they reverse engineered the network protocols. Yeah, emulation. There you go. So they actually created an emulation framework for Asheron's Call, where you could mimic the server calls and run a copy of that yourself on your own environment. This is actually, wow, that's from 2021. So I didn't play the sequel. Asheron's Call 2 had better graphics, they had mounts and stuff like that, but it was garbage. I was old. So Asheron DB, third-party plugin framework for the game, allows developers, modders, and rogue servers to drastically extend functionality beyond what was possible in the game client. So you just need, I think, a legitimate copy of the game, which you can probably find somewhere. And so they have a preservation project. Okay, so you've got some beardy looking folks. I find it interesting. So a lot of you are like, what's he doing? What's this? The LOTRO link they showed as related was Shadows of Angmar. I didn't see that. Let me go back where I'm sorry. Sid Meier's Pirates. Okay. Well, it's surprising the free and open source games that are out there. If I thought it would be a bigger draw, there are like OpenRA, which is a command and Command and Conquer like clone for um, it's completely open source, and they have different skins for this. You can play Command and Conquer esque looking stuff. They have the Dune version, which you're actually mining for spice, and there's sandworms and shit out there where you've got to stop them. Um, but yeah, I mean these are all RTS games that we were actually going to play when we were at InfoSec Campout. I'm going to get a Deku mud running soon, just working on security auditing my old mud. Okay. Very cool. Yeah, and then I found a ton of games out there for all kinds of stuff. If there's clones for Mario Kart, of course, Super Tux Kart and all those. Some of these are actually, I was looking for one for like Total Annihilation kind of stuff, and obviously there's this. I, if there was, if people wanted to play these, I mean, there's servers hosted online for these things where you could just go in and the problem is you'd have 9-year-olds who are probably going to beat the shit out of me, and I don't want them on the stream. So it would have to be me setting up some kind of server remotely that I could just control on my own or what have you. But yeah, I mean, these are actively produced and created, and I would love to play some of these online. Maybe we could actually sit down and do that on a stream or something where I've got YTT playing the Americans, and I'm evil Russians trying to take over your woods, or something like that. I could do that. Someone did a recreation of GoldenEye. Damn 9-year-olds. Yes, exactly. Recreation of GoldenEye. I saw that GoldenEye was being reissued for the Xbox in like 4K resolution. And there goes the rest of my world. Yeah, so it's confirmed. GoldenEye 007 is going to be a 4K remaster, but without online. Oh, no, I think they probably should rethink the online multiplayer because, I mean, I don't have 4 friends that live near me anymore like that. So I'm going to need me some online multiplayer if I'm going to waste the rest of my life playing GoldenEye on the Xbox. So. Well, Beta Wolf, find that link and post it up on here. I wouldn't mind, playing online and multiplayer. If we had some GoldenEye or something like that. Um, you know, I could potentially set up a Quake server if y'all wouldn't completely run my internet connection. We could play that too. So unlock. Oh, you are some fuckers. Yeah, I'm not gonna buy more cubes. That's why I'm gonna do stuff. But yeah, it's there's a ton of stuff out there that we could play. See, YTT could be our game server. There you go. 5 gig symmetric up and down. I mean, we could get YTT to set up the Open Raw server, or set up a little Think server or something like that with a 100 megabit connection on it. Oh, it's on Steam. Okay, yeah. Um, okay. Yeah, the graphics don't look too bad. Yeah, that's pretty nice. Okay. Oh. Okay. I'm seeing a bunch of like dudes. We need some different skins. I think that's probably the first thing you need. Um, the problem I have with the movement is everything kind of starts looking like Quake after a while. Um, yeah. No. Yeah, I'm seeing. Oh, okay. There you go. Okay, I did see somebody who wasn't in a suit and did not have facial hair. Um, yeah. So there's definitely some bits there. Early access to the game. Oh, it's currently, yeah, it's being planned. So right now it's going to be it's on the wish list. So they're trying to drum up support for it or what have you. So there you go. I don't have anything against Steam, but some of these other games are you just download and go, that kind of thing. So I mean I can download, done. So comes in Windows, Mac OS, Linux. So yeah, some of these are actually fairly large. So okay, close that, Uh, so yeah, NXVL. If you wanted to go and learn a little bit about auditing Python or something like that, um, sent me that. Gonna run through that and see, because he said it's about 2 or 3 years old. I can't imagine it's all that different. Python hasn't changed much, other than the 3x version of Python is like the new and only version, but it's been around for a decade. So, um, but yeah, maybe we just schedule a game session where people just get together and yeah, Beta Wolf, it looked nice. I mean, the pixels looked pretty on it, and yeah, it's gonna probably kick some ass. But yeah, I will keep an eye out for it when it is available, and see if I can find something cheaper here that I can unlock. Documentation and reporting. Okay, some of these cracking passwords with Hashcat. Introduction to Bash scripting. File transfers. Stack based buffer overflows on x86. That's not bad. Okay. Unlocks for 10 blocks. Okay. Unlock. Sure, why not? Success. Alrighty. Please feel free to follow along in your book. Speaking of books, I'm actually going to reach out to Matt this weekend, but he signed these. Got 3 of them at InfoSec Campout. They're signed by the authors. So if you want one of those, a tier 2 subscription, I'll email that to you. I'll send that along to you via snail mail, and you can have a copy signed by the author. I'm going to reach out to him this weekend and see about getting him on the show, talking about Azure pen testing. I mean, I'd actually like to talk to him about doing incident response in the cloud, because if you're like the Uber folks, not to go back to that, but they're going to be collecting potential evidence. Law enforcement, if they decided to press charges, or maybe law enforcement is like, hey, you've got no choice, you better collect your artifacts. There's going to be some discussion about collecting evidence correctly. Every post in the Slack channel that got put out is going to be probably collected for evidence, to find potential. Maybe the author, the hacker writes a specific way in the Slack that could be attributed to other places. Every time we say, I don't, I don't think the Uber CEO has anything to worry about on my tiny ass stream. If we had 100,000 followers and listeners on our stream here, then I would think he'd have a little more to worry about. But yes, Beta Wolf, I'm sure he's getting, or she is getting, little tingles on the back of their head, like somebody's talking about us. But then, of course, everybody's talking about them right now, so there's not huge difference. So buffer overflows have become less common in today's world, as modern compilers have built-in memory protections that make it difficult for memory corruption bugs to occur accidentally. Accidentally being the the quiet part said out loud, if you will. That being said, languages like C are not going to go away anytime soon and are predominant in embedded software and IoT. Why is that, you think? Why are languages like C better in embedded software and IoT? I think I know this answer, but if anybody wants to put that out there. One of my favorite, somewhat recent buffer overflows was 2021 3156, which was a heap-based buffer overflow in sudo. Ah, okay. Right, YTT, 100%. There's less. It's not as resource intensive. It's not Java, so anything is better than Java at that point. So, they linked to a Qualys blog post. Yeah, sudo, powerful utility. It's in most, if not all, Linux and Unix-based OSs. I want to say sudo was like the original, run as kind of program. There's also, I believe, run as and do as, run as. do as for OpenBSD. Right. Yeah. So OpenBSD got rid of their sudo implementation back, I don't know, 6 years ago. Yeah, 5.8. So that's been a while. So they use what's called do as, which is a replacement for sudo, because obviously there's issues there. So I want to say there was a run as option as well. I think that's probably for Windows. Run as. I think that exploit requires **** asterisk to be enabled. Huh. Let me see. The vulnerability itself has been hiding in plain sight for nearly 10 years. It was introduced in July 2011. Commit 8255 ed69. Affects all legacy versions from 182 to 1831p2 and all stable versions from 190 to 195p1. Successful exploitation allows any unprivileged user to gain root on the vulnerable host. Security researchers have been able to independently identify the vulnerability. Proof of concept video. How long is this fucking video? All right, so let's zoom ahead here. No, turn off the audio. Let me see. Oh, they don't have. Okay. So exploit C wall were okay. So they ran the code. Run a command in shell sets the S option, which is the mode shell flag, or the I option, which sets mode shell and login shell flags. Then at the beginning of sudo's main, parse args rewrites argv by concatenating all command line arguments and by escaping all meta characters with backslashes. Later in the sudoers, command concatenates the command into a heap-based buffer user args and unescapes the meta characters for sudoers matching and logging purposes. Okay. Unfortunately, if command line argument ends with a single backslash character, then okay, yeah, you can see it right here. See, this is exactly kind of what I wanted to do for code audits and stuff. See, they say if double backslash and then is space, and so adding a third backslash, of course, sets command vulnerable to heap-based overflows because the out-of-bound characters are copied to the user args buffer that were not included for size. So, which is 852 and 853. So that's kind of cool. All right. In theory, however, no command line argument can end with a single backslash character. If mode shell or mode shell is set. Yeah. In practice, however, vulnerable code and parse args are surrounded by slightly different conditions. So, yeah. So, yeah, did I put that link in the chat window? Probably not. Let me grab that. Doink. There you go for everybody. Yep. So yeah, you can go read through that. And there's a bunch of stuff going on there, talking about how to create the overflow. And yeah, so these attacks aren't limited to binaries. A large number of buffer overflows occur in web applications, especially embedded devices which utilize custom web servers. Right, custom web servers like they might be bundled or packaged with something like a drop bear or a specific tiny, HTTPD is a good embedded web servers. Yeah, I mean, they're not using something like Python to do this, which might be the easiest way of doing it. There are other small. That's not what I was thinking of. What was it? Tiny. I thought it was tiny HTTPD. Yeah. Not for production use, primarily for learning persons investigating the protocol and system. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, there's a number of different ways to do it. It's either using Java or there's this is one that I would almost imagine you could see inside of a an embedded device. So HTTPD server for IoT. There you go. Yeah, so they have a database for Internet of Things. Yeah, embedded web server. So they use WebSockets or what have you. Yeah. 7 elements to watch out for when evaluating options. Oh, they didn't show examples. Damn. Okay. I want to say there was fast static web server for IoT and static sites. So yeah, very small Go for static sites such as Raspberry Pi. Obviously, they're not using this. Has been deprecated. Might be fun. Go looks like a fairly easy system to use for that. But yeah, anyway. In short, buffer overflows are caused by incorrect program code, which cannot process too large amounts of data correctly by the CPU and then therefore manipulate the processing. Too much data written to a reserved memory buffer or stack is not limited, for example. In that case, suppose too much data is written to a reserved memory buffer or stack that is not limited, for example. In that case, specific registers will be overwritten, which may allow code to be executed. This is one of the when I was doing my OSCP, they had several test labs, and one of them was a buffer overflow one in an FTP application that would allow you to run certain commands. And upon login, the FTP daemon had a buffer overflow in it, and if you did it just right, you could get root on the box because it was incorrectly. There's no privilege separation. There was no method by which to protect the system from that. So we're gonna we're definitely gonna go through and take control of the EIP and shell codes, bad characters, generating shell code, identification of return addresses. Some of this stuff may actually be useful for the upcoming malware analysis class that we're going to be doing. CyberSec Diva, I'm gonna, like I said, gonna reach out to her this weekend and make sure that we're all ready to go for that. We might just record the classes separately and then we'll play them back and then people can watch them and we'll make comments and questions and suggestions at the time. Otherwise it'll be like this. She'll be teaching, I'll be silently watching, you'll ask questions in the chat and we'll have a good old time. Buffer overflow can cause the program to crash, corrupt data, or harm data structures in the program's runtime. The last of these can overwrite a program's return address with arbitrary data, allowing an attacker to execute commands with the privilege of the process vulnerable to the buffer overflow by passing arbitrary machine code. This code is usually intended to give us more convenient access to the system or use it for our own purposes. Such overflows are in common servers, and internet worms also exploit client software. Yeah, it's not limited to Linux or Unix systems. I mean, Windows has its more than its fair share of buffer overflows. Sometimes, I would say they have. What's that? Would it be not dishonest to say that there are more memory protection controls in Windows than there is Linux? Because they have DEP, ASLR. Windows has specific memory protections for its OS. I would say out of the box, Windows may have better memory protections than Linux does. I'm waiting for somebody to tell me, no, you're wrong. I'm a beardy Linux person, and I, love me some of that Linux. I tell you, I'm waiting for that. So if anybody is wanting to prove me wrong, please feel free to say so. All right, marked complete. So YTT, I was wondering if somebody was going to mention AppArmor or SE Linux or what have you. Beta Wolf. YTT, is SE Linux set by default in enforce mode? Because it's HIDs or whatever. Most of the time SE Linux is running in listening mode, right? It's not in enforcement mode, which is where it starts running into issues where people can't use that shit. Am I wrong in that? Is my understanding you have to flip that switch to enforce. Oh, it is enforcing by default. Okay, so I don't. Yeah, it's been a minute since I've used CentOS and Red Hat. So, huh. Um, I've got my big ass server up and running with Ubuntu 22 on it, and I've got everything running on it. Um, somebody told me that Fedora is a better version. It's been default for the last 5 years. Okay, so that would explain it. I haven't touched CentOS in CentOS 5. We were using that. CentOS 6 and 7, I think, were being rolled out when I left that government position in 2012, I think. 2012, 2013. So, yeah. Okay. I do remember. Uh, okay, yeah. So yeah, 5. I think 6. We were testing 6 out when I left that job in that field. So we hadn't played with. Yeah, CentOS 6 came out in. I was still working at Ultra in Austin at the time. So CentOS. Oh, come on, damn you, 6. CentOS 6, yeah, it came out in 2004. End of life was 2021 for CentOS. Well, wait, that doesn't sound right. Am I CentOS 6? 2011. Yeah, okay. So, yeah, last updated 2011. It was being tested by our team because we didn't want to pay for the licensing for Red Hat, so we were telling the armed forces, "Hey, CentOS is just as good as Red Hat, and we run it ourselves." So yeah, 2011. That makes sense because I think I quit that job and quit being they decided not to renew my contract and I got laid off in about 2011, November 2011, I think. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Anywho, exploit development introduction. Yeah. So I won't lie, I don't know a lot about exploit development. That is like the 6, 7. I don't know what is. We are on Cent. I thought CentOS is now just the bastard child of Red Hat. It's like Red Hat Beta or something like that now. Download CentOS mirrors. We are on CentOS 7-2009. No, come on now. CentOS, yeah, I think they just call it CentOS Linux and CentOS Stream. So continuously delivered distro that tracks just ahead of Red Hat Enterprise Linux development, positioned as a midstream between Fedora and Red Hat. So Fedora is like bleeding edge, CentOS is like middling, and then Red Hat is like the LTS version. Wow. Yeah, I knew there was a bit of wailing and gnashing of teeth from the CentOS community when Red Hat said, "Yeah, you now belong to us now." Yeah, so in terms of like beta nightly and like LTS versions, CentOS is the beta, Fedora would be the nightlies, kind of, if you're thinking in browser parlance, and then LTS would be Red Hat Enterprise Linux in some cases. I guess the idea is, if you've tested it in CentOS or Fedora, it's going to get introduced into Red Hat, and then you'll get to pay thousands of dollars to use Red Hat for its stability and or support. So, um, one of the most popular programming languages is Python. Yes, because it's easy to understand and easy to write with. Really? Okay. Uh, yeah. Okay. Well, I will. Okay. Subjective, easy to understand and easy to write with. Maybe it's just because I'm old, but I have trouble with programming languages, just getting to use them. So in this module, we'll focus on basic techniques for exploit development, such as fundamental understanding must be developed as a fundamental understanding must be developed before we can deal with the various security mechanisms of memory. Before we run any exploits, we'll need to understand what an exploit is. An exploit is code that causes a service to perform an operation we want by abusing the found vulnerability. Wouldn't an exploit also be code that causes the service to uh, it wouldn't necessarily be a vulnerability, but it might actually work as intended, but in a way that is counter to how the developer expected. So like, you could find a vulnerability that oh yeah, the code says it can do this. Well, why didn't, I'm just trying to think that it just seems that that's an odd definition for that. Like it may not always be a vulnerability that they found and abused. It's like, you could send multiple HTTP requests to an HTTP server because you don't have a mitigating control in place. The code or the exploit that you've got may allow for something to stay in memory and cause detection of resources. Beta Wolf says Python makes me love programming and loathe it at the same time. Okay, that's fair. Oh man, we've lost people. Am I really that bad? God damn. Okay, well, it is what it is. I'm glad for everybody who's sticking around and hanging out. Beta Wolf, you said you were going to work on some hack the box or try hack me stuff. Is there anything you were working on specifically? I'll continue on here. Before we run any exploits, we need to understand oh yeah, I read that part. There are two types of exploits. One is unknown O-day exploits, and the other one is in-day or known exploits. O-day is code that exploits a newly identified vulnerability in a specific application. The vulnerability does not need to be public in the application. The danger with such exploits is that if the developers of this application are not informed, they will likely persist with new updates. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. If the vulnerability is published and informs the public developers, they will still need time to write a fix to prevent them as soon as possible. When they are published, they talk about in-day exploits, counting the days between the publication of the exploit and the attack on unpatched systems. What if the attack on unpatched systems happens the day you publish? You did the publication. It would still be a 0-day, right? But I'm just splitting hairs here. So yeah, exactly. If you publish it and it's like, hey, here's super easy exploit, all you have to do is X, and somebody can immediately weaponize that. It's 0 days after. Yeah. No, absolutely, YTT. The try hack me stuff, I'm just going through different classes. I'm almost done with pre-security and intro courses, 64 plus hour ones. I'll keep making my way through the learning, even though I know a lot of the information. It's fun going over again. Well, and also you're codifying your knowledge. Like, even if it is, on your resume, you say, oh yes, I know this. Then you can say, well, I've taken these courses. And that's what you can do. And of course, Beta Wolf, there are, boot to root boxes on, hack the box. And I believe even try hack me has some as well. So you can keep poking at, poking at some boxes over there. And, if you are interested, Beta Wolf, and you want to join me here on this lovely stream, I can set up a Zoom or we can set up the Discord voice chat and go through some of those if you so want. I'm making spit bubbles. That's how bad my thirst is. Also, these exploits can be divided into 4 categories: local, remote, denial of service, and web app. Okay. I would not have split the web app up into its own, but maybe they have a good reason for that. Most of the time, most web apps are either, you know, local issues or local privesc or remote code exec or something like that, which would be, local exploits can be executed when opening a file. However, the prerequisite is that the local software contains a security vulnerability. The actual action that the exploit performs is called a payload. Okay, so that's higher privilege level, execute malicious code or shell code in the operating system. Remote exploits are often buffer overflow vulnerability to get the payload running on the system. The web app isn't running on the OS, so it's segmented. Oh, that might be true. Yeah. I think, you might be right. Let me go see what they're saying down here. The web application exploit uses a vulnerability in such software. Such vulnerabilities can, for example, allow a command injection on the application itself or the underlying database. See, my whole point with that YTT was the web app exploits are remote in nature. Usually they either run code which allow you to then do something else, like gain access to the box, or start a shell that goes back to from the box via a PHP payload in some cases. So it's just interesting how they split this up, because there's a lot of local and remote things that have to happen on a web app for it actually to happen. So they didn't give an example down here, which is would have been nice. Maybe it's a WordPress thing. I don't know. Maybe a web app exploit might be an XSS that allows for a shell to happen too, and that's not necessarily a payload. It's just an injected piece of code. I don't know. Um, yeah, yeah. I mean, YTT, you could completely own a web app and not the OS underneath. You're absolutely correct. I didn't think about that. You're correct. Yeah. The architecture of the von Neumann. Oh wow, we're getting deep into the dark knowledge, aren't we? CPU architectures and shit. Okay. Okay, John von Neumann, and consists of 4 units: memory, control unit, arithmetical, a logical unit, and input-output unit. Okay. Oh, we even have a picture. Oh, it's an i7. Ah, fancy. Okay. So do we get into Numa here? I don't know. Let's scroll down and see if Numa is in here. Central processing unit, ISA, RISC, CISC. I don't see any Numa stuff. I'll have to. Non-uniform memory access. I'm assuming that's what you're talking about. If anything, I'm not a hacker, but I can do a pretty decent search on things. So I meant CPU on that, not PCU, but Google knows what the fuck I meant. So, okay. So, yeah, von Neumann architecture. Not to be, yeah. So you have an accumulator, control unit, input output bus, input output device. So there's your keyboards and mouses, flash memory. So I just popped another 64 gigs into that server that I've got along with my big fat graphics card. So I have 128 gigs of RAM in there because I was going to remove the 64 that was in there because I kept getting RAM errors. The BIOS was set up for like Dell's real-time memory check system, and every time it would tell me, "Hey, we found something," and I couldn't figure out how to clear that. So basically, I went into the BIOS and turned off the real-time memory checking thing, and just put in 64 gigs of more RAM. So at some point, it'll tell me, "Hey, remove this DIMM," and I'll just remove the DIMM once it goes bad, because it locks off. It kind of like does a check disk on the memory as it goes in. So primary memory is the cache and random access memory. If we think about it logically, memory is nothing more than a place to store info. We can think of it leaving something at one of our friends to pick up again later. Okay. For this, it's necessary to know the friend's address to pick up what we left behind. It's the same as RAM. RAM describes a memory type whose memory allocations can be accessed directly or randomly by their memory addresses. Cache is fed into the processor, serves as a buffer, in which best case ensures the processor's always got data and program code. Where the program code and data enter the processor for processing, the RAM serves as data storage. So we have the slow memory, which used to be your 5400 RPM, hard drives. Then you had your RAM, which was much faster. Back in my day, I used to set up a RAM disk in my little 640K of memory on my 8088 processor trash machine because I wanted things to run super fast, like programs and stuff. So I would have a RAM disk that would, I could copy things to like a drive, and then it would just run so much faster that way. Which was fine until you ran out of real RAM to run the program in. Secondary memory is external storage data such as an HD, SSD, flash drives, DVD ROMs, etc., not directly accessed by the CPU. Huh. Okay, yeah, not directly accessed by the CPU, but I/O interfaces. Yeah, I was gonna say, isn't USB-C a direct, I/O, a direct interface? Oh man, YTT, I'm going to allow that. You got you got hit for using the term neck. You got hit for using the term neckbeard. I love that. Okay. YTT is one of our administrators, so I'm gonna give her the benefit of the doubt that it wasn't a personal attack. I do have a bit of a neckbeard right now, but I don't think she meant it like that. I understand what they're saying. In my world, the two types of memory are local and non-local, hence von Neumann bottleneck. Okay. Okay. I would imagine with the computers that you have at your house, you deal with a few issues with bottlenecks all the time. So, yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I completely understand YTT. I just, our bot is a bit overzealous sometimes on that. So, I take it in the humor it was meant to be. Control unit is responsible for correct internetworking of the processor's individual parts. An internal bus connection used for tasks in the CU. The tasks of CU can be summarized as follows: reading data from RAM, saving data in RAM, provide, decode, and execute and instruct. We use the Harvard comma here. We are not heathens. Maybe I should send a bug report in for that. Or provide and then decode and execute, potentially, maybe that's how they're doing it. Processing the inputs from peripherals, processing the outputs to peripherals, interrupt control and monitoring of the entire system. I wonder if these are in order in terms of priority. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I would imagine. I think Oxford's hosting the "Catch Me Outside" girl for speech. Okay. Not sure. I don't understand the context there. Maybe it's just because I'm old, Beta Wolf. CU contains the instruction register, which contains all the instructions the processor decodes and executes accordingly. The instruction decoder translates the instructions and passes them to the execution unit, which then executes the instruction. The instruction execution unit transfers the data to the ALU for calculation and receives the results back from there. And the data used during execution is temporarily stored in registers. So you have the ALU up here, okay, which goes back and forth between the accumulator and the control unit. I will have to go and read that one later. Yeah, maybe we need to, turn our simulation upside down and shake it like an Etch-a-Sketch or something and start over. So yeah, a lot of stuff happens between the control unit and the arithmetic log unit, and then flash memory and all that's just kind of there. It's just makes everything go super fast or not super fast, but yeah. All right, scroll down to the bottom here. CPU, there's 3 best known versions of CPU. There's ARM, and then AMD 64 or 64-bit processors, and then i386. There's also Spark. Motorola had one as well, which, processors. MIPS. Yes, MIPS is another one. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah. Best CPUs for 2022. It's either AMD, Intel, or AMD Intel. Yeah, there's ARM, different versions of ARM, MIPS, Spark. What was the one that Silicon Graphics had? I forget. Was that MIPS, YTT? They had the cool little toaster looking pieces of shit that everybody wanted to use, but nobody could understand SGI. Well, to be fair, Beta Wolf, I think all processor companies are in the middle of some kind of lawsuit. SGI was MIPS. A 68K. I was thinking of 68K. I knew that there was one with a number in it, but yeah, MIPS. MIPS was definitely one. I always wanted to get that to work. We had a MIPS. We had an SGI. It had the blue and it had kind of this little black piece of plastic or something on top of it. Always wanted to use it, but never could figure out what to do with it. And that was back in 2004, 2005. So you have half a dozen of those. What do you do with them? What are they running something for you? Are they good number crunchers? Could you put them together into some small Cray supercomputer like cluster that you could crunch 2 plus 2 for a half an hour and figure out what it is, or hanging out in the garage? Man, I want to come and see your house in Sacramento. I do. Um, SGI brought. Yeah, I remember when SGI bought Cray. When I was stationed in Monterey, the first thing I saw when I got there was the 8 processor Cray supercomputer that we had to crunch numerical weather models for the Navy, and uh, it had the bench on it. It had it was a Cray supercomputer. It had the bench. I sat down on the bench. It was in its own special room. It had Halon all over the place. This was before Halon was outlawed. Um, hell, the Halon might still be there. And it was more the thing of, you know, don't try to be in this room as much as possible. But if you were in this room and something bad, like alarmed, get out as soon as you can, because you've got about 10 seconds before the Halon goes off and kills you. And because we don't use fire extinguishers around here, we use Halon. And I was like, oh, great. And so, yeah, that was an interesting and humbling experience, if you will. We used to have a Cray where I worked. It might have had tens of thousands of processors. Yeah, this one had 8 processors. I don't know how many cores it had, if that was even a thing back then. But I remember for Y2K testing, we actually had to borrow a Cray 16 core processor or 16 processor supercomputer from Cray, so that we could do Y2K testing to make sure that we could continue working when Y2K happened. So we did Y2K testing and a dam to power it. We had some major power coming into our building. This was before data centers, obviously. So we had a huge semi truck trailer looking generator out back, and yeah, it was that was a hell of a thing. A couple times we would turn it on and we would go from shore power to generator power. We had a whole warehouse full of deep cycle batteries. Yeah, Beta Wolf. Well, part of being a watchstander when I was in Monterey at the Fleet Numerical was knowing how to get into some buildings if everything went to shit and it was like 2 a.m. So they'd show you the battery room. There's probably a couple of hundred deep cycle batteries that were in there at the time. This was back in 1999, so things have hopefully changed for the better there. And then you would, the big ass generator in the back was about the size of a semi truck container. And yeah, it was like the batteries in that warehouse had enough power to keep everything up for about 5 minutes. That's how much juice the building was taking at the time. And that would give the generator enough time to whir up to speed and take over the load, so that when the batteries did fail, it would fail over to the generator. And that's how it was working at the time. I'm guessing the technology at Funny Numbers has gotten better, and that way we don't have to worry about that. But oh yeah, let me finish this one here. CPU architecture is built in a specific way. One last thing for that. After Y2K testing, because I left in like November of 2000, or May of 2000. The Cray, I guess they ended up buying the second computer that the Navy had picked up for Y2K testing, so that way we could increase our computing power. So at the time we had, 2 Cray supercomputers at the time. It was very cool, very cool. There are 4 different types of ISA, or instruction set architecture. So there's complex instruction sets, reduced instruction sets, very long instruction words, and explicitly parallel instruction computing. So I'm hoping we don't have to know a lot of this, but they definitely have some um, answers here. Instruction cycles. There's fetch, decode, fetch operands, execute, update instruction pointers. We're going to get into EIPs, which I think is the execute instruction pointers, EIPs. So we're going to get into some of that as well later on here. So, and like most things with Hack the Box, you can go back and reread all that stuff if you had any questions. We ran a web server, YTT. We were running web servers on UltraSpark, Sun UltraSpark 2s, I think. No, that's not it. It was a computer, not a processor. It was yeah. We were running firewalls off of something like this. UltraSpark 2 computer servers. Yeah. Yeah. There you go. Oh, no, that's it right there. That's the Ultra 5. Yes, that's what we were running our firewalls off of, was the Spark Ultra 5s. Yeah. Those were better than the Sunfire 280Rs, because at least with these, they had a quicker startup time than the Sunfire 280s. We also had some 2500s, I think. Let me see. No, not those. They're like rack mounted servers, like the Sunfire 280Rs. Yeah, there you go. Oh my goodness. And then the 480s. The only difference, I think, the 2s and the 4s was size, the 2U versus the 4U. So yeah, these are. I don't know why I got on eBay, but they have all the old shit in there. Oh my god, that's a 4U, ugly as sin, but yeah, those always gave us issues because we never knew if they'd start up or not. Every time we rebooted them, it was like cross your fingers and pray. Yeah, I loved the Ultra Sparks. They were pretty fun. I would have loved to have had one, but they are noisy as shit. Oh yeah, okay, yeah, I have cracked. Wow, $7.99 for a Sunfire. Okay, Ultra Spark. These will run Linux, so there you go. Oh yeah, very nice. I would have expected to see a government sticker on some of these. These are old. So, yeah, there's the processors, RAM. I think ours had a quad fast Ethernet on them with all 4 ports bound, so that we could get 4x the speed, that kind of thing. Anyway, memory exceptions with the operating system. Oh, what time is it? Oh my god, it's time to go. We had them in the data center at Apple. Yeah, when I worked for HP, we had a ton of 280Rs, 480Rs, Enterprise 250s. I think Sun Enterprise 250s. They were the Sun, like the Enterprise 250. No, they were the 4500s, weren't they? I think that was it. No, 2500s. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's these. Yeah, they had the big fat keys on them. We just turned them sideways. That's what it was. We knocked we took the wheels off and would mount them in the racks. Yeah, it had a key. You had to turn it on and off. That was kind of fun. So yeah, there you go. Man, tape drives and everything, the DAT drives and everything. Yeah. That was when I was learning how to use, Solaris 7 and had to build OpenSSH with entropy gathering daemon and everything so that I could SSH things. Because up until then, the Navy was doing things like, oh yeah, what do we need to use SSH for? We have RSH and Telnet and FTP. And I was like, look, just be better, people. Yeah, there you go. Ah, yes, the rack mounts. Yes. Okay. That's that's why I didn't recognize them. Yes. Okay. Um, yeah. Beta Wolf, let me know if anything changes with the other recruiter. Let me know if you want to, get on with me. I don't mind doing a Slack where we're both sitting here talking about something. If you want to run through some hack the box stuff and, put it down on your resume, hey, I, spoke on this stream about various things. We can do something that way too. So, um, well, let's go see. All right. So anyway, if you work for Uber and you're watching this in the future, my condolences. Hope everything went as well as it could possibly be for you. I am sorry that it ended up happening on your watch, but if once everything gets all straightened out, you will be all the better for it. I can almost guarantee it there. So, oh wow, nobody's online. Okay. Well, I was gonna throw some. You know what? Well, I'm trying to work on my my skills with that. So, yeah. Hope everyone has a good week. We'll be talking with Tanisha about the malware analysis stuff. Hopefully, we'll be back on Sunday night for a BreakSec podcast. I'm going to get Mr. Berlin and Mr. Betcher on to talk about that. Otherwise, I will probably record something and then have it up for the podcast as well. So, cool. Hope everyone has a great day. I'm going to raid MakerDeck because I think MakerDeck is cool. Nothing like watching CNC machines bang on and create stuff. It's kind of cathartic, if you will, watching machines do that. So I'm going to go. Have a great day. Be safe. Be careful. Take care of yourselves. Talk to you later.